Hello, welcome to Todd Miller TV. I'm here today with Oana, and we're going to talk about the Homeowner Bill of Rights in Nevada. Okay, so not in specific terms, but just in general terms, how does that work? Like, how is it different now than it was before this bill was passed?
It's lengthened the process by a little bit for the foreclosure, but it's also clarified some things. Like, for example, and the average foreclosure before was like 111 days, and now it's basically added like another 30 days to it.
Okay.
The other thing that's happened is the whole mediation process is more streamlined. So you have the opportunity for mediation, but you have to actually sign up for it and pay your fee. If you don't pay the fee by day 30, you have 30 days to pay the fee for mediation. If you don't pay for it, then you're basically waiving your right to mediation. So it's just clarified a lot of that. The other thing that's going on is that they've streamlined some of the process for the properties that are deemed vacant. So we're seeing a lot of this thing where the servicers are going out and rekeying properties left and right.
Right.
And sometimes the property isn't really vacant, but they've rekeyed it. So, remember, they've got somebody out there who's getting paid by the door that they're rekeying. So,
yeah, they look in the window, they don't see furniture, they rekey it, but they don't know that the rest of the house isn't furnished.
Right. So, it used to be that if the utilities were on, they didn't rekey, but now they are rekeying anyway.
Okay.
Now, remember, the servicer has the right to secure the property in the loan document. So
sure,
it's not like they're doing something outside the scope of what's being agreed to, but sometimes it's difficult to tell when a property is occupied. We've run into that where two properties look identical. There's bedding there, there's kitchen stuff there, but there are no clothes there. One property, nobody ever called, nobody ever claimed anything, and 30 days later we go ahead and we trash it out and we move forward. The other property, 2 weeks later, somebody calls and says, I was out of town, you rekeyed.
Right.
So, it's difficult to tell sometimes when a property really is vacant or not, because people do abandon their personal property.
Okay, so in regard to Homeowners Bill of Rights, how does because the average person out there doesn't have a clue. I mean, they really don't. They don't know that they have mediation. I mean, no one's going to knock on their door and go, here's your mediation, you have to do this they just have to figure this out.
Right. So here's the issue with that. Sometimes they get a letter saying, hey, this is a mediation procedure, and sometimes they don't. Okay?
Okay.
The servicers are pretty paranoid about the whole thing, so they actually send out more notices than is required by law.
Okay.
Because they are very paranoid about this. However, it is still incumbent upon the homeowner, upon the borrower, to educate themselves as to what the procedures are, what their rights are. There are plenty of opportunities to do that. You can do anything from calling the state to calling a real estate attorney, calling a real estate agent. So there are lots of opportunities to find out how to do this, and they're free. And people are generally very free with information. They're happy to help you. So it's not that difficult, but it is incumbent upon you that when you get that notice of default, when you get these notices, that you're not an ostrich, you don't hide from them, you do open them, you do read them.
Right.
And there are phone numbers on there. The other thing that's happened with the Homeowners Bill of Rights is they've got this phone number and this person that you can reach out to, which is my favorite part. So they give you, Joe Smith at, 1-800-NO-HELP. And so you call up Joe Smith, and Joe Smith answers the phone, which is great. Or if he doesn't answer the phone, you leave him a message and he calls you back, which is fantastic. And the first thing that Joe Smith tells you is, I don't know anything about your case, but thank you for calling.
Right.
Because the Homeowner Bill of Rights put in place this thing where it's the one point of contact. Okay?
Right.
So that's what I think is kind of funny, because they give you this person who really doesn't know anything.
Yeah, right.
So,
they're just trying to fill a check,
exactly,
fill a block. We got to do this legally, here's your point of contact.
Right. So what you do is you call up this person who doesn't know anything, but then you ask your questions, and the person says, okay, I got your questions, let me find out and I'll get back to you. And they do. They will get back to you, but you've kind of got this situation where you've got this person who can only answer the questions that you asked, and maybe not to the extent that you really wanted them answered. So you have to be very specific with your questions,
okay, so
that they can get you the specific answers back.
Back to the thing where if the bank is sending you letters saying, call us, we may have a deal for you or something, that's probably a good idea to do it, because it's possible that they're going to give you a really awesome loan mod, or principal reductions, or some other deal, and everyone's fear is that they're going to call the bank, and all the bank's going to do is say, you owe us this money, or we're going to foreclose on you. You owe us $50,000 in back interest, blah, blah, blah. And it's just the debt collector thing.
Right.
So what do you think, somebody gets a letter from the bank saying, hey, really call us, we may be able to help you out,
Right. Just like I said before, I know that there's a lot of anxiety when you get these phone calls or when you get these pieces of mail. I appreciate the anxiety, but it is really in your best interest to not hide. It is in your best interest to communicate. Look, the more you communicate, the more information you get, and the more you can help yourself, the more choices you have. The less you communicate, the more everything happens to you, because you're not making any conscious choices. So choices are being made for you.
That's exactly right.
It's like with anything else in life. Be proactive, get educated, and make your own choices rather than having choices be made for you.
I guarantee you there are people that got foreclosed on that could have stayed in the house, that could have got a better deal on their loan, and at some point could get out from being underwater. That the banks have their own internal programs outside the ones the governments have mandated. They have their own programs that aren't terrible, like 40-year amortization, 2% interest payment, and a reduction of all of the amount down to what the appraised value is, which is a smoking deal.
It is.
If a person's smart enough to go ahead and move forward and take it.
Right. So the thing that we need to point out is not every lender has that. Not every loan program has that. So it is case by case specific, which is the whole point of communication.
And they don't know unless they call.
Right.
Okay.
Find out. Get information. Get educated. If you're uncomfortable, being the one to communicate with them, then all you gotta do is write them a letter saying, I've assigned so and so to communicate on my behalf, and then so and so will communicate.
Okay. Here is the takeaway. Homeowner Bill of Rights, but you still have to be proactive.
Absolutely.
You have to make these things happen, and they're your rights. The banks aren't going to come and babysit you with these. They're going to give you a shot, but if you don't take them, things are going to happen to you.
Right.
So I thought that was great. Very happy. Oana, of course, always a ton of information. Anyway, that's my update for today, and hope to see you on another video. Thanks.